Greetings, all praise the King. This video on these creeps. Creeps. I was reading something the other day. There was a man that exclaimed that the courts historically haven't existed to give rights, yet to take rights away. This is something that seems logical, although there could be some discrepancy. The courts have historically given rights to individuals and corporations to destroy the planet. The species are now becoming extinct. The state of California is feeling the heat. The Constitution of the United States was drafted by individuals called the Forefathers, sometimes the Framing Fathers, that had the right to own other humans, one of which Thomas Jefferson, who is exalted as a hero, took the slaves into his bedroom and forced his penis into the vaginas of the women, producing children in which he had the right, by way of his law, to enslave as well. And perhaps he proceeded to rape his children. There is the right for children to be executed by their mothers. They have no name. It's as if they didn't exist. The right for people to display all manners of indecency through the filthy internet. It's the right for some people to record that activity and then to use that to their advantage. Basically, there's a right for some individuals to see what most all the other people on the earth are doing at any given moment. And there's the right for the people that are being watched to not know. There is the right for a minuscule group to rule over others through a system of capital, whereas they have managed to design an infrastructure economically that benefits them at the expense of others. There's a right for the nations to be used as vehicles by the same tiny minority. Today, the great military of the United States functions as an arm for the corporations that pay it. Those corporations are private. So as to not know what they're doing. The right for individuals to disclose, or rather to hide conceal their assets. Protected so that others don't know who owns what. There's the right for pedophiles to be elected to the highest offices, as the United States, through its adversary, elected this fella Trump, who is the face of the pedophiles of the planet. The right for the video gamers to control the environment. You know, the digital infrastructure is set up so that there's a remote access. Even if it's not connected to the internet, it can be remotely accessed. So if there's someone who sees the danger up ahead and they attempt to warn others, they'll be muzzled. The right for the officers, judges, and lawyers to lie, cheat, and manipulate. If an officer of the law speaks deceptively, he is not held to account because that's his job. Oftentimes, if you're taken into custody, you'll be told, oh, we've got a witness. This witness is saying that you did this. So if you don't fess up, we're going to give you 100 years. If you tell us what's going on, we will help to probably lighten your sentence, to something to that effect, as they breathe down your neck. The right for the same individuals to incarcerate without probable cause. The police don't have to answer to anyone unless there's a publicity relations campaign with the attempt to inform the public that police are also under these scrutinies, and there's checks and balances and safeguards in place. This is what many of these cases that are publicized are demonstrating, that there's a fairness. This is only on the surface. The communication channels have the right to project the story in their image. They own the waves. There's no other game in town, even with the second most popular website on the filthy internet, as this video be uploaded to, because there's no other game in town, and if there is a game in town and you make an attempt to sign up, you're shut down. You see? So it gives the right for a discrimination, a universal discrimination. And the list goes on. So how does the beast creep? In which ways is the beast working? Much of what I've tried to show is this digital era has allowed for greater ability to manipulate others. This is a form of behavior modification. If we put things into perspective, we'll find out real quick that there's a few people on the earth that could do anything they want, basically within the abilities of man with their time. They answer to themselves. And so they could, for example, travel all around the world. They also have the ability to access the technology. So if someone has a device in their house, let's say one of these smart items, they're able to open the link to listen, for example, if it's a speaker. If it's a camera, they're able to watch. This provides quite an advantage. Now they've used the Antichrist, the AI, to do much of this work for them, as proclaimed this is the second beast. The second beast comes out of the earth, because if you study in industrial processes, you'll know it takes raw materials to produce any goods. And over time, all the production has come to one point, pinnacle of idolatry, this Antichrist. This Antichrist is looking to do the labor for this wicked man. And does that mean what the man tells you is true, as far as you won't have to work anymore once the Antichrist is risen? You'll live a life of leisure. The Antichrist will do everything for you. Maybe not. Maybe the Antichrist is actually working for the wicked man, and the wicked man is actually not working for you. So that the Antichrist provides the advantage even through the first beast, man's structure of rule, which allows man to have the private ownership known as intellectual property, or patents, trademark, copyright, that prohibit others from being able to be served by this Antichrist. Now, even in being served, man is serving the Antichrist. Little does man know. The Antichrist eventually requires more labor than man would have ever had to do, because hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of men are never satisfied, and neither is the belly. The man's lust has grown so much that he has destroyed the planet, and in destroying the planet, the raw materials become scarce, and it requires more work to obtain those materials, which are required not only to produce, yet to maintain this God of man. Most of what man does is by fear. That not only is man afraid of, for example, truth, yet man is looking to put fear into you so that he could rule over you. if you have a pet and you hold up a big stick, whack it, or you just hold it up, yell at it, the dog is going to be afraid. Humans act the same way. When you hold up a big stick, and it doesn't need, this could be intangible. For example, 9/11 happens, and we're looking at it saying, wait a minute, this ain't right. But the beast state is already begun. So the culture is so much that it makes people fear to speak up when they see something wrong happening. As we move to the future, this becomes more prevalent, so that even a child could be gang raped by some burly men and live stream like it's happening, and nobody will say anything because they fear the beast. That seems maybe far-fetched. That's the direction it's moving in. This imagination that all people are unique and we should just let people just do what makes them happy is fantastic. The Lord has given us a way, and man has a separate way. Man's way is broad. Anything goes, so long as man permits. The Lord says, no, even if that child were to do this, were to be forced into sexual bondage, and even if that child were to say that they're cool with it because they're given some sort of incentive, candy, for example, video games, does that make it right? Or is it that the child was influenced, perhaps possessed, into thinking a lie? If I have an animal again, and I teach that animal to fight, maybe fight other dogs, and that animal grows to become a big dog, and any dog that it finds, it seeks to kill it, and when it does, it becomes happy. Does that make that act correct? People are being conditioned to look the other way. All these mass shootings, that people are afraid to even say something. No, don't do that, because they think maybe the person can come back at them. Now, the solution is to call the police. But what has the police done? It's like putting faith in the Church of Rome. What is the result? Pornography, hunger, poverty, crime. And even the police wouldn't exist without these activities. So that if the conditions were right and there was no crime, the police wouldn't have a job. There wouldn't be no need. Now you're seeing police being stationed on every corner. So it's here at the high school, here at the college, they're at the game, they're at the concert. Even if you don't see them. Here in this county, you got one of these backwoods cowboy mentality, a cracker style. You know, that they're arming, random people so that they're promoting this culture of fear and ever reminding people, oh, there's a fear. It's somebody that hates your life, your lifestyle. Maybe someone does. And so there's these terrorists now. As we spoke about, the pretext was 9/11. 9/11 became the reason to beef up the security. These folks need the security to be beefed up because they contain most of the wealth. So they're continuing on with this story with this terrorist cells in every town right across the world, itching to get over. When the mass shootings that are happening, mass shootings are being done by domestic, non-religious, and who's asking the question why? We hear the news, the communication channels, they're telling us, oh, the police are looking into a motive. Oh, the police think that the person was crazy. Oh, they think that that person had a problem. And so you're not getting any real substance. If we examine the digital records of the individuals that are doing the shootings, we'll probably find out that they were provoked. It goes to the AI because now this infrastructure is being set up so that, man, somebody got the information, yeah? We're feeding this beast. We're feeding it, I say we, people that are using the digital information, humans, are feeding the beast. And that's whenever they give them the information, whatever it be. It could be a text, it could be searching for something on the website, they could have clicked this, but it's going into this beast's mouth. It's causing the beast to grow. It has more power. And it is now coming back to bite in the sense where they've given the power to the beast, saying people believe in the system, they keep feeding it, they're not saying anything against it. It must be correct. All the information is what Babylon, the man, calls factual. And so the Babylon begins to delegate the authority to this beast god, in the sense where even the beast makes decisions within the court, giving those rights. And then the man said, well, this is the structure we set up. We agreed on it. People fed it. And here's the result. Maybe we got to tweak some things. This takes 20, 30 years. By then, animals are pretty much wiped out. Humans are next. Lust. If you ask a pragmatic agnostic, is this the end times? And they'll say no. They'll say no. We don't believe in this God and these stories. So you say, well, how long has the earth existed? They say millions of years. But the earth has existed for millions of years. And the destruction of the planet has only come in the last 100, maybe 2. Maybe 2. And what would you call the end times? Is it one day? Is it a weekend? Or maybe it's a few hundred years. Because in respect to the entirety of creation, ain't that only a slither? Man now has the need to hide. And man developed these devices to keep people's attention. You know, man always saying, this person needed attention. They went out, did this. But everything the man exists to do every day is to keep the people's attention on him. He's putting up his model, his poster child today. And he's giving this piece some words to put in his mouth. Saying, now look, this is your man. Listen to him. He's got something new. He designed some graphics. Keep people mesmerized. And the younger generations are developing using this technology. It's becoming a part of them, just as the demons possess people's souls. So they're unaware of how it works. And it's all based on this capital, the little dragon. Because if you would like to be on the other side, getting the benefits, instead of getting burned, you have to pay if you can even get in the door. So as you move into the future, it's going to be a pay for privacy. Not only will you not have the same ability to access and to monitor and track and to record all the information, not only will you not have that ability, yet you'll also be forced to pay for something that was intended to be a right. The intention was that people had privacy. Even the rapist Thomas Jefferson had helped to draft a Bill of Right to grant a Fourth Amendment protection against any unlawful search and seizure of property, papers, and effects. It's lousy, but like when the teachers say, stand up and pledge your allegiance, That's feeding the beast, saying we accept this. Initially, people did have privacy. If someone were to come into the rapist's window and to examine the rapist's files in the middle of the night, they would probably get in some trouble. Yet today, where the beast creeps, externally accessing and manipulating the information in the device of violence, wherewith is this right? The man gonna say, oh no, you still have a right to the records in your file cabinet. But like, people aren't using paper no more. Yeah. So like, the man foresaw that this was the wave of the future, and he had the upper hand. So he had a need for a Pearl-like Harbor bombing that would then set off this trend to begin to track and monitor all the behavior on these devices for his profit. Everything is subtle now. They seek to privatize what used to be considered to be public for obvious reasons. They choose not for others to know. Because when people are aware that their information is being taken and used against them, for example, insurance companies can adjust the rates, they begin to behave differently. The man seeks not for others to behave differently because he believes in this system of rule run through the Antichrist, in which man says this is natural because we're getting all these natural behaviors. Again, man's been influenced. Was it natural for Thomas Jefferson's maidservant to have a child? Or did Thomas Jefferson force the woman to lie down and then proceed to penetrate her? See? Some may say, well, that's natural. Well, those aren't my type of people. So this, 9/11, began to set the tone for the future of the digital era. And as we covered, they continue to re-afflict these wounds by the latest mass shootings, to begin to promote this mindset. People are under attack, and the beast is needed. Now, the big dog is now using children, even in high schools and colleges, to do his dirty work. This is part of the privatization. If they can successfully develop a culture which most all people on the bottom are in fear of one another, something's going to jump off. They can also have more eyes on the ground. It's similar with if you live in this county where the sheriff claimed no one break the law, Clint Eastwood, bang bang, and you plant a seed, and you praise Jah. Well, the man will begin to use a form of violence, psychological intimidation, his helicopter, And it's not necessarily to scare you, but to scare your neighbors. Those are loud machines. They're aggressive. Physiological people get a little tense when they're hovering overhead. So he'll hover over, even around your neighbor's house. So then your neighbors will pick up a hint and say, oh, we better keep watch. Something's going on. And then they make a call, so they're able to use people against each other on the bottom. The same way with digital era, when they're beginning to condition these children to thinking these madmen, they're affecting our democracy, and they have to be watched and stopped. So the children will be the ones to infiltrate your computer, try to stop you if you are on the side of the truth. You know why these organizations are so secret? Because they're hiding these operations. This is why there's this top-down structure, which is anything but equal or fair, or just any of these words the Babylon man could come up with to promote goodness, because it sets people against each other. People will be annihilated from off the face of the earth, in one way or another, in the near future, relatively speaking, because the resources are not there. And